The packages looked normal in weight and size, but Marcus was a careful observer. Same sender, same recipients, very regular delivery times. 15 years of tracking narcotics trafficking operations had taught him patterns. This isn't coincidence, he told himself. This is an organized operation. Before we dive into this incredible story, tell us in the comments which city you're watching from today. And if this story moves you, make sure to subscribe because tomorrow I have something very special planned for you. The morning of March 12th started like any other Tuesday for Marcus Thompson, rolling out of the UPS distribution center in his familiar brown delivery truck at 8:15 a.m. Route 47 covered the east side of the city, a mix of residential neighborhoods, small businesses, and apartment complexes that kept him busy from morning until late afternoon. At T38, Marcus had been driving for UPS for 3 years, ever since he'd moved to Phoenix looking for steady work and a quieter life than his previous career had provided. The job offered everything he'd been seeking: honest work, good benefits, regular hours, and the kind of routine that let him serve his community without the life and death pressure of his former profession. Marcus approached his delivery route with systematic efficiency that most people attributed to good work ethic and professional training. He knew every address, every business owner, every regular customer on his route. His truck was organized with precision, packages sorted for maximum efficiency, delivery schedule optimized to serve customers when they needed their shipments most. What customers didn't realize was that Marcus's approach to delivery work had been shaped by 15 years as a DEA narcotics agent. His attention to patterns, his systematic observation of neighborhood activity, his ability to recognize unusual behavior, all skills learned during years of tracking drug trafficking operations across multiple states. Today's delivery list included 127 packages spread across 89 addresses, a typical Tuesday volume for Route 47. Most shipments were routine: online purchases, business supplies, personal packages from family members. Marcus had delivered to most of these addresses dozens of times, understanding the normal patterns of who received what kinds of packages, and when 0.3 hours in his route, Marcus began noticing something that activated instincts he thought had been dormant for years. Several packages on his list were going to addresses he'd been visiting with unusual frequency over the past 2 weeks. Not unusual in itself, some customers ordered frequently, but the pattern was too systematic, too coordinated. The packages in question were all similar size and weight, all from the same sender in Nevada, all addressed to different recipients at locations spread across his entire route. Most concerning was the timing. All were marked for delivery within specific 1-hour windows, suggesting a level of coordination that didn't match normal consumer behavior. Marcus's DEA training had taught him to recognize distribution networks, and what he was seeing triggered every alarm he'd learned to trust. Drug trafficking operations often used legitimate shipping services to move product, exploiting the vast volume of normal commerce to hide illegal shipments. He began paying closer attention to the addresses on his suspicious package list. 1247, Oak Street, a house where he delivered similar packages 3 times in 2 weeks. 891, Maple Avenue, an apartment where the recipient always met him at the truck, never allowing packages to be left at the door. For 56, Industrial Boulevard, a storage facility that received packages addressed to different names, but always signed for by the same person. That Marcus's phone buzzed with a routine delivery confirmation system. But he was beginning to see his route differently. 15 years of DEA experience had taught him to read patterns that invisible to most people, and the pattern he was seeing looked exactly like a sophisticated drug distribution network. Marcus decided to conduct the kind of careful surveillance that had been his specialty during 15 years of federal narcotics enforcement. Without appearing to deviate from normal delivery routine, he began documenting the details that would be crucial for building a case. At T1247, Oak Street, the recipient was a nervous young man who insisted on meeting Marcus at the street rather than allowing him to approach the house. The package was signed for quickly, with obvious eagerness to end the interaction as soon as possible. Marcus noted the time, the recipient's behavior, and the license plates of 2 cars parked nearby. T891, Maple Avenue. The pattern repeated. Different recipient, same nervous behavior, same insistence on meeting at the truck rather than the delivery address. Marcus began recognizing the operational security measures that drug organizations use to minimize exposure and maintain deniability. The breakthrough came at 456 Industrial Boulevard. Marcus was delivering a package to Robert Chun when the recipient accidentally called him by a different name before correcting himself. Marcus recognized the slip drug operations often used multiple false identities to receive shipments, and operatives sometimes forgot which name they were supposed to be using. 15 packages in 2 weeks to different names, same signature, Marcus noted in his delivery log, using notation that would look routine to supervisors but would be meaningful to law enforcement. That Marcus's federal training had taught him to build cases systematically, gathering evidence that would support prosecution, rather than simply disrupting individual transactions. What he was documenting could be the foundation for dismantling an entire distribution network. Marcus had identified at least 12 addresses that appeared to be part of a coordinated operation. The sophistication impressed him. Whoever was running this network understood how to exploit legitimate shipping services while maintaining operational security that would avoid detection by anyone without specialized training. The packages were being sent from a single address in Nevada to multiple recipients across Phoenix, creating a distribution network that spread product efficiently while limiting exposure for the central operation. Each recipient appeared to be receiving regular shipments, suggesting they were functioning as street-level dealers supplied by the Nevada source. Marcus's DEA experience had shown him similar operations during his federal career, but this network was more sophisticated than most. The use of UPS provided legitimacy. The systematic scheduling minimized exposure, and the geographical spread made detection difficult for anyone who wasn't looking at the complete pattern. Most concerning was the volume. If Marcus's analysis was correct, the network was moving significant quantities of narcotics through legitimate shipping channels, potentially reaching every neighborhood on his route. The implications for community safety were staggering. Marcus faced a decision that would have been automatic during his DEA career, but was complicated by his current civilian status. He was a UPS driver with no official authority, but he was also a former federal agent who recognized a major drug trafficking operation when he saw it. That Marcus's first call was to a number he'd memorized but never expected to use again. The DEA maintains contact protocols for retired agents who might encounter situations requiring their expertise. The response was immediate and interested. Marcus Thompson, agent number 4471, retired 2021, he said when the secure line connected. I have an active narcotics distribution network operating through UPS Route 47. Within 2 hours, Marcus found himself in a downtown federal building briefing current DEA agents about what he discovered. Agent Lisa Rodriguez and Agent Tom Mitchell listened with growing concern as Marcus laid out evidence of what appeared to be a sophisticated drug trafficking operation. Your analysis indicates this network has been operating for at least 6 months, Agent Rodriguez observed, studying Marcus's documentation. The systematic use of legitimate shipping services suggests professional organization. Nevada source, Phoenix distribution, multiple drop points across residential and commercial areas, Marcus confirmed. Classic hub and spoke model, but using UPS instead of traditional courier services. The implications were significant. If Marcus's assessment was accurate, the network could be moving millions of dollars worth of narcotics through channels that had never been monitored for drug trafficking. The use of legitimate shipping services provided cover that made detection extremely difficult. Marcus found himself in the unusual position of being activated for undercover work as a UPS driver. His established route, his legitimate access to the addresses, and his 15 years of DEA experience made him ideal for gathering intelligence while maintaining operational security. Your position provides perfect cover for surveillance, Agent Mitchell explained. You have legitimate reasons to be at these addresses, established relationships with the recipients, and professional knowledge of how these operations function. Marcus's new mission was to document the network while protecting his cover as a delivery driver. This required balancing his normal UPS responsibilities with the need to gather evidence that could support federal prosecution of the entire organization. Working with his DEA handlers, Marcus implemented surveillance techniques designed to map the complete network without alerting the operators that they've documented package volumes, recipient behavior, timing patterns, and connections between different addresses. They're moving approximately 50 packages per week through my route alone, Marcus reported during one of his briefings. If they're using multiple routes and drivers, the volume could be enormous. The investigation revealed that the network extended far beyond Route 47. Similar patterns were identified on UPS routes throughout Phoenix, suggesting a systematic exploitation of shipping services that could be occurring in multiple cities. The operation culminated with coordinated raids across 15 locations simultaneously. Marcus's intelligence had provided the foundation for obtaining federal warrants that targeted the complete distribution network rather than individual dealers. Outstanding work, Agent Rodriguez told Marcus as they watched the arrests unfold. Your systematic documentation provided the evidence we needed to take down the entire operation. The raids seized over 200 pounds of various narcotics, arrested 23 individuals, and disrupted a distribution network that had been operating undetected for over a year. The use of UPS as a distribution method had provided cover that might have kept the operation invisible indefinitely without Marcus's trained recognition. They were moving approximately $2 million worth of narcotics per month through legitimate shipping services, Agent Mitchell explained during the case debriefing. Your early detection prevented significant drug distribution in residential neighborhoods. Marcus returned to his UPS route with new appreciation for the ongoing nature of drug enforcement. The neighborhoods he served weren't just delivery destinations, they were communities that needed protection from threats they might never recognize. Marcus continued his UPS deliveries with a renewed understanding of how his two careers complemented each other. Delivering packages, he was protecting the communities he served, watching for patterns that could indicate threats to public safety. Each street he navigated and every stop he made carried subtle signs that most people would overlook. A mailbox slightly ajar, repeated deliveries to the same inconspicuous location, or an unusual flurry of activity in an otherwise quiet neighborhood. To Marcus, every route was more than a logistical task. It was a network of observations that could help law enforcement preempt dangers before they escalated. 3 months later, Marcus had consulted on 2 additional cases where delivery drivers had noticed suspicious shipping patterns. These cases range from odd clusters of packages in industrial areas to recurring deliveries in residential neighborhoods that didn't match the typical flow of commerce. The DEA had formally requested his assistance in developing training programs for commercial drivers who might encounter evidence of drug trafficking. The agency recognized that ordinary drivers, trained to notice subtle anomalies, could become the first line of detection against complex criminal operations. People think package delivery is just about getting things from point A to point B, Marcus explained to a group of UPS drivers during a DEA awareness briefing. But we see neighborhoods when they're unguarded, when they show their real patterns. That makes us valuable observers. A single delivery might seem routine, but in context, it can reveal an entire network if you know what to look for. He walked the drivers through examples, highlighting how repetitive deliveries to vacant lots, excessive returns, or packages addressed in inconsistent ways could all signal something beyond everyday commerce. His phone buzzed with a secure message from Agent Rodriguez. New shipping pattern identified in Tucson. Similar methodology to your Phoenix case. Available for consultation. Marcus paused, scanning his delivery manifest. The streets of Tucson were unfamiliar, but the principles were the same. Look for repetition, inconsistencies, and signs that routine operations masked illicit activity. He replied, "I'll review the intelligence tonight." That evening, Marcus overlaid maps, timestamps, and shipping logs, cross-referencing them with patterns he'd seen in Phoenix. His wife glanced over his shoulder. "You treat these packages like puzzles." Marcus smiled. "Exactly. Every route tells a story. Every delivery leaves a footprint. Some lead straight to the source." Over the next weeks, Marcus coordinated with UPS supervisors and DEA analysts, creating a training protocol that emphasized observation, documentation, and communication without disrupting operations. "The smallest detail can break a case wide open," he told trainees. Some careers never end, they just find new ways to serve. Marcus Thompson, former DEA agent, current UPS driver, continued his work one delivery at a time, one neighborhood at a time, proving that crucial law enforcement often happens in everyday situations. In quiet moments, he reflected on the irony. A job once defined by arrests now relied on observation, pattern recognition, and patience. Yet the mission remained the same, keeping communities safe. Sometimes, the most important investigations begin with someone who can spot the difference between normal shipping patterns and trafficking. A mundane delivery could be the first thread in unraveling an organized Marcus, network. Every beep of his handheld scanner, every signature collected, and every package delivered was another opportunity to observe, understand, and ultimately protect. The roads he traveled as a UPS driver were now part of a larger battlefield, one where vigilance, knowledge, and commitment were as powerful as any badge he had ever worn. Have you ever noticed patterns in your work that others might miss because of your professional background? Share your stories in the comments below, and let us know what city you're watching from today, that if this story of hidden expertise and community protection resonated with you. Make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell. And don't miss the 2 compelling stories appearing on your screen right now. Click and discover more tales of everyday heroes with extraordinary training. Because sometimes the most important investigations happen on familiar streets, by people who know how to see what others overlook. See you in the next videos. Don't forget to like and subscribe.